Well, all right, and welcome to the God Talk with your host, Chris Marquardt. I'm so excited for this new message series. This new message series is called Floating Hope. I'm looking at how when we have hope, it seems to float to the surface, but also doesn't often seem like we're just floating around in our spiritual lives, floating around in our lives, looking for something that's always better. And so today, as we're going through this message series, I want you guys to feel encouraged that wherever you are in your life, wherever you are going, that God has a plan for you. And so we don't need to just float, but instead we will have floating hope. Or more importantly, we will have hope for the future, hope that we are no longer floating around. And so as I kick this message series off, I want to ask you this question. How many of you guys right now are just floating? Are just floating around, floating from one thing to another, floating from one belief to another, one religion to another. And so often in our Christian lives, it seems like we do that, don't we? It seems like we just float around. It seems like we just float and go wherever the current takes us. And that's the equivalent of saying that I am lukewarm. That you're not really progressing with God, but you're not getting any worse with God. You're just maintaining. And if you guys have been with me long enough, you have heard me say that maintaining a relationship with God is so important. But we also need to move. We cannot just simply maintain. And so as we are having floating hope, when we know what God has planned for us to do in this moment, we will know the plans that He has set out for us to do. And so today I was going to call this message series Float Hope, or Hope Floats, but since I can't because of copyright issues, but to have our hope float to the surface is something that is so powerful. Because so often we give up on hope. We give up on the things that we are passionate about. We give up on people. And then we end up giving up on ourselves. How many of you guys today have given up on something? Have given up on your love? Have given up on your family? Have given up on your friends? Have given up on the things that you hold most dear in your life? How many of you have just give up? Now, how many of us keep our hope floating? That things will get better. That is what hope is. Hope is saying things will get better. Saying that no matter what we face, no matter where I am in my life, I hope that I can get better. I hope I can improve. And hoping is so powerful. Because next to love, there's hope. And love and hope are so similar, but yet so different. And if you were with me for the message series called Caring, we looked at the different aspects of what caring really is. It's not just caring. It's not just a white rock. But there are multiple different color rocks around this white one called care. And we looked at hope, we looked at love, we looked at compassion, and we looked at all these things in and through our life. And so as we go through the rest of this message series, I want you guys to feel encouraged. I want you guys to feel hope that God is for you and that God is with you. How many of us today have gone through something terrible in our life? Have gone through something so terrible that you think that you can never bounce back from it? It might be losing a loved one. It could be a car accident. It could be that you've just given up on yourself for whatever reason. How many of you guys are out there today? Now, how many of us have hope that no matter what comes our way, no matter what stands in front of us, we will always have hope. We will always hope that no matter what comes our way, we can face it head on. We can face it head on. And so as we are doing these things, as we are facing our problems head on, as we are telling the truth in love and the truth in spirit, we're going to be looking at 2 Kings 6 verse 6. And so if you have your Bibles, man, blow them off, dust them off, whatever you got to do to get them open. And again, looking at this hope aspect of our life, that when we hope, our hope floats. So we do not just float around. Because so often we just float around. We float from space to space instead of maintaining the place that God has set out for us today. And so, as we float, not just float because there is nothing else better, but we float because God is better. And so when we are floating in the things that God has set out for us to do today in this moment, we will get to know His divine intervention, His divine wonders, and His divine hope. God's hope for this world was that we would get to know Him, but not only simply know Him, but follow Him and love Him as He has loved us, as He has loved the church. And so I want to ask you this question: what is your hope? What things do you hope for? What things are you hopeful for? Do you hope that God is going to set you in this place of redemption? That God's going to set you in this place of forgiveness? That God is going to give you the dream job that you have always dreamed of? What things do you guys hope for? And whatever you guys hope for is amazing, because hope is so powerful. Hope is one of the things that keep us together. Keep us together. It's hope and His love. When we hope for something, it's not just saying, oh yeah, we hope, I hope, but it's a part of us. It's part of our soul saying, I really, really want this. And so when we are wishing for something good to happen in our life, it's not just saying it, but it's who we are. It becomes part of us. And so I don't want you guys to get this mixed up with, oh, well, does that mean that when I hope for something bad, for sin, that it's a part of me? No. But I'm saying when we hope for something good in our life, it becomes a part of us. Because that hope is not just saying, yes, I hope for it. It's not just saying, yes, I want it. But it's saying, I will fight for it. I will fight for the things that I want most. And that's what God did. He did every single day. He fought for what He held dear the most. He held dear the most. As if you guys have your Bibles, man, that's awesome. Read along with me. And if you guys don't have your Bibles, just know that I'm deeply offended. And it says this in verse 6 in 2 Kings 6. And this is the story of Elijah and Elisha. And it says this in verse 6. It says, the man of God asked, where did it fall? He showed the place. Elijah cut a stick and threw it in there, and made the iron float. And verse 7 says, lift it out, he said. Then the man reached down his hand and took it. Now that is a powerful verse, because that is showing God's love. In the story of Elijah and Elisha, this man was chopping down wood, minding his own business, and all of a sudden the head of his axe came off, and it fell into like this river or this pond. And you know how deep sometimes rivers or ponds can be. It's not just like two inches deep, but it's like 6 inches deep. Meaning, if you reach your hand all the way down there, you still can't feel the bottom. Like, it's not just a little river or a little stream, but it's a massive river or a massive stream. And so we see that this guy dropped his iron head in there. Now, back then, it wasn't just so easy for them to go to Walmart and be like, yeah, I need another iron It's $75. All right, I'm gonna buy it. But that was something that was important to them because that's all they had. That's all that the farmers had. And so losing a part of that, losing part of that machinery, a part of something that's important in their life, they would start to feel sad. They would start to feel like they were not able to do the things that needed to be done. And so often that's us with our faith, is that we might be going along, we might be going strong, and we might be chopping down this tree that's in front of us, or we might be hitting this brick wall with our sledgehammer, and we keep hitting it, and we can almost break it down, and then all of a sudden, the head of our tool comes off. Meaning we hit a snag in our life. We hit a snag in something that was dear to us. It could be any personal issue that you have right now. It could be a struggle. And it might seem that we might be going well, and then we just lose it. And we lose all hope. But this is where God steps in. This is where God steps in and says, here is your hope. And so this man of God said, where did it fall? Where did it fall? And Elisha broke a stick, and he threw it in there. And all of a sudden, this iron that was heavy, that was weighed down, that just dropped to the bottom of this lake or this pond, rose up so the guy could pick it up. And that's what God does with our faith. That's what God does with our hope. It's that when we are hopeless, when we feel like there is no end in sight, when we feel like every effort that we've done gets shot down, God picks us up. God picks our hope back up. He says, do not give up on me. Do not give up on the hope that one day you will pastor a church. Do not give up on the hope that one day you will become a doctor and save many lives. Do not give up on your hope of becoming an astronaut. I'm becoming a veterinarian. I'm becoming a chef. I'm becoming whatever you want to be. Do not give up on your hope. Do not give up on your dreams. Because God's hope in his dream was that one day, the people in the church would see God for who he truly is. The Messiah, the King of Kings, and there's overabundant love. And so when we lose our faith, when we lose our hope, when we lose our trust, when we lose the things that are most dear to us, God will always bring it back to us. God will always bring it back to us. We don't always know how he's going to do it. For this guy, it was a stick. Maybe for us, it's something different. Maybe God needs to drain our lake, needs to drain our pond, so that we can pick up our faith again. Maybe God is saying, I want you to throw away what you're holding on most dear to right now. I want you to cast away your sin so that your hope can return. I want you to cast away your anger, your guilt, your shame. I want you to cast that away so that your hope can return to you. We often lose our hope because of something that we did or because of something that we didn't do. But when we are following God, the things that we did and the things that we didn't do not seem to matter as much. Because we are following God. Because we are doing what he has called us to do. And so when we are doing what God has called us to do, and when we lose our faith, when we lose our focus, God will bring it back to us. God might drain our pond, might drain our lake. God might